Donald Trump is breaking the internet after tricking this liberal journalist into exposing the entire Democrat Party, their lies, and the propaganda plus narratives that they're pushing on everyone. It is without a doubt the most tactful, masterful, and brilliant interaction that you'll see this year, and what a way to end 2024. This is a must-see.
There are 20 states that still have the federal minimum wage at $7.25, and I actually have a map. 19 of these states actually voted for you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it right here. I don't know if you remember this, but during the debate in 2020, I asked you if you would raise the minimum wage. You said you would consider it. And so my question for you is, now that you are going back to the White House, for these 19 states that voted for you, are you going to raise the federal
It's a very low
wage?
number. I will agree. It's a very low number. Let me give you the downside, though.
Yeah.
In California, they raised it up to a very high number. And your restaurants are going out of business all over the place. The population is shrinking. It's had a very negative impact.
So what's interesting on this in a moment, I want you to see how the interviewer, Kristen Welker, tried to dominate this entire interaction from the start. By, instead of asking President Trump a question, she tried to convince him to raise the minimum wage. Now, this is an interview where he gives his thought process on how he want to do things, but she was there to instead try to get him to accept the liberal narrative. And this starts the entire point of this video, is how Trump turned it against her and tricked her into using her as an example to expose the problems and the dangers of liberals as a whole. It is a brilliant, brilliant interaction.
But there is a level at which you could do it, absolutely. Yeah.
What is that level?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I can say this. You have a lot of businesses that are open and thriving because of the lower minimum wage. If you raise it too much, and you understand this, if California went crazy, they went crazy. And people, the restaurants are closing all over. Many more people are hurt.
So I hear you saying, similarly to sort of what you said in 2020, will you consider it? Is this something you're going to look at?
I'd want to speak to the governors. And the other thing that's very complicated about minimum wages is places are so different. Mississippi and Alabama and great places are very different than New York or California. I mean,
watch how he walks the dog. And I'm not calling her a you know what, but I'm just being figurative. He breaks it down, and he's showing that America, you can't just define minimum wage, because these different cities, these different states, there's so many different variables and factors that if you look at it as if it's a black and white issue, you'll end up doing more harm than good.
In terms of the cost of living and other things. So it would be nice to have just a minimum wage for the whole country, but it wouldn't work, because you have places where it's very inexpensive to live, where a minimum wage, which is $8 or $9, might have very little effect, because the cost of living in certain places is really low.
Well, you promised to end birthright citizenship.
He completely cooked it. And it shows that he has his experience in economics. It shows right there, because he's expressing the thing that I love about President Trump. He doesn't just tell you to do something that he wants to do. He explains why it works. And he's saying that you can't have these places that are cost efficient sit there and raise their minimum wage, because it can't keep up with the economy. It causes this entire economy to crash, because those owners won't be able to maintain with the employees. They can't pay them. They wouldn't have the money to pay them. And so these places that pretty cost efficient, you'll find out that they have a lot more family-friendly businesses there. So if you start raising the minimum wage in those locations, you're going to see more big business take over the United States, which in this era I would think we're trying to push away from.
Yeah.
On day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
We're going to have to get a change.
Appealing and...
So what she tried to do with this, and this is very disingenuous with the mainstream media, with her trying to alter the 14th Amendment, she was saying about the age and birthright of it, which is pretty strange. But truthfully, in the 14th Amendment, it says all persons born are naturalized in the United States and subject to jurisdictions, therefore are citizens of the United States. That's what she cut out. She cut out and subjective to the jurisdiction, therefore, meaning, according to some experts, not illegal immigrants. She intentionally is cutting out our Constitution. Exactly the things that they do on mainstream media. And Trump is able to pay attention to this, look at the way that he's looking, look at the way that he responds. He can tell that this is a hit piece. He can tell that they're not playing fair. And he's prepared to go to war and battle.
When John McCain let us down by voting, and Murkowski and Collins and whoever it was that voted against, but they really let us down. They did us a great disservice because we would have had great health. Obamacare is lousy health care. It's very expensive health care for the people. It's also expensive for the country, but for the people, it's lousy health care. When John McCain gave his thumbs down after saying for 10 years that he wants to repeal and replace, okay? And then he came out, put his now famous thumbs down, and he became a hero to the left. Let me tell you, if we find something better, I would love to do it. But one thing I have to say,
He's saying if we found something better, he would love to do it. He would love to. And I like that how President Trump approaches things. It's not a demanding thing. He's saying if there's a better option, let's take it. But if there ain't, he puts his hands up. Contrary to popular belief, President Trump isn't too proud to work with people, including the opposite party. He's not too proud to work with them. He's saying that if it is a system that is better than Obamacare, let's install it. But if not, we are stuck with what we have, and that's okay.
Inherited Obamacare or anything else you want to go. It's got about 20 names, but I inherited it. And I had a decision to make with Health and Human Services. I had a big decision to make. Do I make it as good as we can make it, or do I let it rot? And a lot of political people said, let it rot and let it be a failure. I said, that's not the right thing to do. And I had very good people in the medical area that handled that. And I said, what do you want to do? He said, we really have an obligation to make it as good as we can. And we did. We made it as good as we can make it. Instead of making it bad where everybody would be calling for its repeal, I made it so that it works. Now,
but you did try to overturn it, sir.
Well, it's lousy.
You did try to overturn it. You did have your justice.
She's completely going, look at it. Look at those eyes. I'm so glad I paused it right here. That's that liberal hive mind look right there. And they all have that look. The TDS just activated. And I don't know if it's like some type of brain chip or something that gets activated as soon as Trump start cooking. The liberal hive mind activates and says, destroy, destroy, destroy. But that's what it's given me. Every single time that Trump starts to cook, Trump says something that can get a lot of people attention, that can get a lot of people to support him, they make these crazy googly eyes and just go completely unhinged. Now let's witness.
Department try to direct the Supreme Court to.
No, we got a little bit of a surprising opinion, to be honest with you. If it would have been overturned, we would have had much better health care right now. But right now, we have something that I made the best of. I could have made the worst of it, and it would have fallen by the wayside. I did the right thing from a human standpoint, but I'm sort of proud of my decision. At the same time, sometimes I regret it. I told the people, and I gave them the money to do it. I said, fix it, make it work, because people would have suffered. But it's too bad that they voted no. I wish John McCain, he fought for 10 years on replacing Obamacare, for 10 years, and then he voted against. Nobody understands it.
Sir, you said during the campaign you had concepts of a plan. Do you have an actual plan at this point for health?
Look at the eyes. She has just gone completely mad. She has gone completely mad wearing that Wizard of Oz green. She needs to follow the yellow brick road because she's lost. She's completely lost. And it's sad to watch these people, journalists, former respected individuals, just lose it, go completely unhinged when he's cooking. And you can see when they start losing an argument, and she was sitting here with Trump to try to embarrass him and humiliate him, and you're going to see it. It doesn't get better from here. It gets worse. When they don't get their way, they show their true selves. And in the same fashion and sense of Wizard of Oz, you get to see the man behind that said curtain. You get to see who's behind the green curtain. And it's always a very unhinged person completely taken over with TDS.
Care?
Yes, we have concepts of a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts? Do you have a fully developed plan?
Let me explain. We have the biggest healthcare companies looking at it. We have doctors. We're always looking because Obamacare stinks. It's lousy. there are better answers. If we come up with a better answer, I would present that answer to Democrats and to everybody else, and I do something about it. But until we have that, or until they can approve it, but we're not going to go through the big deal. I am the one that saved Obamacare, I will say.
And he did. He did. People don't, and this is another thing. He kept it as is, kept the name pretty much as is. He didn't really change anything, to take away from Obama in his attempt to help the American people. But the job for every new president is to work upon the things that the last did. Has our country become so divided that we actually believe when a president does something for us, the American people, it's exclusive to his party? And that's the problem. If Obama implements something, and if Trump can improve it, that's the American way. That's called progress. If Trump introduced something, and the next president be a Democrat and he improves on it, we should embrace that. We should be happy for that, because that tells me it's progression. That's moving forward. And the way that the media spins this, saying he tried to shut it down, he tried to change things on it. He was working with Obama. He was working, well, not figuratively, not physically, but he was working with his system. Instead of working around it, he was working with it. And that's presidential, and that's moving forward. It's like, it's a problem. It was a solution that has become a problem, and I'm going to put the work in to try to create a new solution for it. So I feel like that's very presidential. But the way they try to sell this it's sick.
And I did the right thing. I could have done the more political thing and killed it. And all I had to do is starve it to death.
You did try to have your Justice Department effectively kill it, though.
No.
That's what I just said. He could have killed it. I just said that.
Kill it from a legal standpoint, but from a physical standpoint, I made it work.
In your concepts of a plan, sir, will people with pre-existing conditions still have coverage, and can you guarantee their prices will not go up?
The answer is yes, they'll have coverage. You have to have it.
And what about their prices?
Because you know what?
What about their prices, sir?
I want the prices to go down. I want to have better health care for less money. And there are ways of doing it, I believe. And I have the smartest people in that world. That's a separate world unto itself. I have the smartest people in that world looking at it and trying. And if they come up with something, I will present it. Now, maybe you won't be able to sell it, but if we get better health care for less money, I believe it's very saleable.
Just very quickly, when will we see your fully developed plan? When are you going to show the
I don't know that
public
you'll see it at all. I can only say that we have some of the best health care people. I've always tinkered with it. I think it's a little hard to explain. Obamacare, when I took it over, was a disaster. And I made it
It has insured
workable.
20 million people.
Yeah, because of me.
Yeah.
Because of me. If you look at what I did, I was...
Now you see that she's ready to always talk back, right, and talk over the president. Why she ain't talk over him when he said that? They have the numbers, and this is why I say for my liberal viewers, we got to watch out how disingenuous both sides of the media is. You can't sit there and press on an issue and ignore something when someone gives the response to move on to another one. It is a journalist and media tactic, and to me, I think it's one of the most disgusting things that I see, and not enough people call out. Address a man when he speaks to you. Address a woman when she speaks to you. Don't glance over the question. That way you can manipulate the conversation back to what you want to talk about. It's just very, very, very spineless, and we're witnessing it right here in 4K.
I made it good.
You tried to repeal and replace it. You tried to kill it,
because if I repealed it and replaced it, we would have had a better system, because we wouldn't have had health care. And the Democrats would have been forced to do something. If we wouldn't have had it, the Democrats would have been forced to do something that they wouldn't do if we have it.
Let's talk about Project 2025.
And here's another one. So, as we know, Project 2025 is not a part of President Trump's platform. That is actually the American Freedom Project that he has, and Agenda 47. And nothing to do with Project 2025. But they constantly tried to push that on him, tried to pretty much claim that that was his platform during the election, which a lot of people might not know is the American Heritage Foundation that started Project 2025. It's its own independent entity, has nothing to do with Trump. He breaks it down yet again, have to beat the dead horse, unfortunately, and denounce Project 2025. He says, as you guys are going to see, he approves of some things and disapproves of some things, but she just can't handle it. She knew this was going to be his answer, and this is why I say TDS has gotten to a different level. When you're getting ready to tell a lie, someone's going to defend from it. She knew that he was going to give an answer similar to this, and she still can't control herself.
This is the conservative policy blueprint. You disavowed it during the campaign. You called it a product of the radical right. You've said some of their ideas were abysmal.
Please pay attention to those eyes too. It's like brainwashing. As soon as they get ready to push that narrative, they get wide. It's creepy, man. It's creepy. They get those crazy, googly ladybug eyes as soon as they're about to push a narrative.
I said some of it is. Some of it is very good. Some of it's very mainstream, actually. Frankly, the Democrats should have used some of it because they went, with all the transgender that they were doing and with the men playing in women's sports. Well, if they wouldn't have done that, maybe they would have done better.
Well, so you take me to my question. You're now giving people involved in Project 2025 prominent roles in your administration. Are you changing your mind about Project 2025? No. Is this now the policy blueprint for the second Trump administration?
No. Some people, if you take a look at the group, it was hundreds of people were involved. And I was actually, I reprimanded.
What a brilliant way to respond to that, y'all. I'm sorry if it feels like I'm glazing him, but he simply just straight up pushed that back by saying, and not deflecting at all, he said there's hundreds of people. So it's like this. If someone is a school shooter, does that mean everyone at that school is also guilty of shooting? No, there's many students that goes to that school. It doesn't mean that because they're in the same vicinity, that they are aligned on beliefs or aligned in any type of way. And that same can be said in multiple different scenarios. It's very simple, but it's not so simple to speak about it on spot because we all have the opportunity to say whatever we choose in any given moment. What words you select and how you choose to say them, it reflects your character entirely. And Trump is witty and on it.
The whole group, I said, you shouldn't have placed this document in front of the voters because I have nothing to do with it and I'm the one that's running. You had no right to do this where you put 1,000-page document in front, and many of those things I disagree with. Now, many of those things I happen to agree with. Many of those things Democrats should have agreed to, and I think they would have done much better in the election because they got slaughtered.
Well, I guess people see the list: Russ Vought, Brendan Carr, Peter Navarro, John Ratcliffe, Pete Hoekstra, Monica Crowley, and they think these are all of the people who were involved in or writing Project 2025. This must be a blueprint for work requirements, eliminating the Head Start program, criminalizing pornography. Is that what we can expect to see?
Well, I don't know how they voted. I don't know. I never spoke to them actually about it, and I purposely, and I told you, normally it would be just the opposite. I'd review every page. I purposely didn't even want to see it because when somebody like you asked me a question about Project 2025, I can honestly say I've never seen it. I have nothing to do with it. I didn't read it, but I did hear some things in there that I would totally disagree with. And I said to the people that were really the people behind it, you know who those people are? I said, you really had no right doing this to me because they used it as a soundbite, the Democrats. And I don't know, it couldn't have been too effective because they got slaughtered, but they did use it as a soundbite.
But to people who see, oh, he's bringing in all of these people from Project 2025, he must know what it is.
Well,
you know what?
I don't know what it is, no. I don't know what it is.
You still don't know
what
it is?
But I heard
all
certain things that I didn't like.
Your...
And by the way, I heard certain things that are phenomenal. Okay?
Like what?
Like law and order. We want law and order. Okay? Little things like, let's put prisoners in jail. Let's not let people come out and raid every drugstore in Manhattan so that we have to put glass up and every store is going out of business. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half worth of testimony. Do you know that I think those people committed a major crime.
Sir?
And Cheney was behind it.
Well,
and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee. For what they did, honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think everybody on the...
This is completely hypocritical. The way that they make it seem like it's a problem when they actually tried to arrest and did with Donald Trump. And first time that we've seen this political opponent in the United States be treated the way he was. And of course, Trump isn't trying to get retribution, but like he's pretty much saying, yeah, these people that did wrong by me, I wouldn't be opposing them to go to jail. She tries to sit here and say that he's wrong for saying such things because he has so much power and influence on the people.
Anybody that voted in favor...
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm not going to... I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
When you say that, it carries weight, though. You know, you've tapped these people to lead the Justice Department and FBI.
They can do whatever they want.
Okay.
Biden's,
Let me ask you this about
it's
January
amazing.
6th.
I wish you could be you know, you have such potential. If you could be just non-biased, you hurt yourself so badly. I'm telling you, they deleted and destroyed all the evidence. Everyone knows it. And you slough it off like it doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm just saying they deny it. That's all I'm saying.
Kristen, if I did it, you would be standing up in that chair shouting at me. And you know what I'd do? I'd say, you got me. They have done something so illegal.
Look at that. And that just speaks about his character, and he will. If you got him, you got him. And he's saying it. And she can't even look at him in the eyes. I'm so glad that he gave her that message. That if you weren't as biased, if you weren't as disingenuous, you would be an amazing journalist. But the liberal hive mind has gotten to you. And if it was me, hell, if Hunter Biden was Don Jr., would he get the slaps on the wrist? If Hunter Biden was Don Jr., and I'm not talking about through the DOJ, would he get a slap on the wrist from the media for as long as it did? It went from it doesn't exist to it's not as true as they say, to it's not that serious, to oh, conservatives are obsessed, to let it go, to he suffered enough. And it's like none of that stuff adds up. How can you say it don't exist to saying he suffered enough? How does it go from it being so bad that you didn't want it to exist to seeing it, witnessing the things that Hunter Biden did, and then somehow reselling that to saying that he's the one that's the victim? It's a disingenuous group of people, and they are the reason why media is dying. That and the viewers that are watching alternate content like this. He completely walked the dog with it. Like I said, it's an hour interview. It's worth watching. ABC News. I could have went into more detail, but didn't think I had to overdo it. This could have very well been a 40 to 60 minute video here. But please like, comment, and subscribe on the post, and click the notification bell to stay updated on my next one. Thank you.